We've got 3 different gimbals, plus the DJI Ronin M, which is the crossbar, not a single-handed gimbal, so it's kind of in a whole nother bracket. All right, everyone, so currently I'm using the Moza Air. It's actually a pretty stable gimbal. A lot of cool little aspects with it. Comes with its own little tripod stand, as well as it comes with the crossbar, so you get that extra stability there. I know I should have put on a wider lens because, sorry, you just gotta look at my face the whole time. But it's pretty responsive, it's pretty stable. The nice thing about single-handed gimbals is you can hold them straight in front of you. You get this nice little effect. You can still be walking, smaller profile, lighter to use, easier to use as well. But are they as stable? So that's the question. So we're gonna chase my daughter around and test it out. All right, so there you have that. Now I have a relatively light camera on this gimbal right now. Right now I'm using the, let me catch my breath. So right now I'm just using the Sony a6300. It just has a Sigma 19mm lens on it. So it's relatively compact, easy to use, light, rotate around. The Moza Air has a 7-pound payload, so you can put a heavier camera on here. But I certainly like the a6300 as well as the a6500s because of their low profile, lightweight, as well as high frame rates. So now we're gonna switch over to the, I'm just gonna call it the Crane, because I always forget how to pronounce the brand name, but the Crane V2, and then we'll go to the Crane 2 and test them out. All right, so now I'm using the Crane V2, which is still Crane Model 1, but it's the version 2 of Model 1. Not confusing at all, considering they have the Crane 2 out now. This one takes a little bit longer to stabilize or to balance because well, it was just kind of confusing with the layout. And it's still not perfectly balanced. Some of the axis setup is still a little bit off, but it's relatively stable. It's pretty decent. Woo! So what we're gonna do now is same thing with the Moza. We're gonna chase my daughter, see how well it handles. Ready? All right, so again, this is the, excuse the mosquito. This is the Crane V2. Actually feels a little bit lighter than the Moza. I think it might be about I don't know, half a pound lighter, maybe. But it also has a lighter payload. I think it only holds up to 4 pounds. I'll correct that in the other review there. Decently stable. Actually feels like the responsiveness from side to side is a little bit better, which can probably be adjusted within the app settings with the Moza. But yeah, it's actually not too bad. Nice thing about this one is it's actually a little bit shorter, or maybe just the grip feels a little bit better. This feels like an overall decent feel, especially for the price. So now we'll test out the Crane 2, not the V2, Crane 2. All right, so now I'm using the Crane 2, the brand new one that just came out, along with the little electronic follow focus, built-in tripod, all those cool little features there. It's pretty nice, stable. I used this at a wedding a couple weeks ago, and one thing I did not like was how thick the base was, because it got really tiring to hold after a while. It wasn't comfortable. But we're gonna test out the stability. I'm losing light, so we're gonna chase my daughter around again, and let's see how the Crane 2 handles it. All right, so there you have it. Stability test. Now, last but not least, although looks like I'm leaning. Looks like I'm kind of leaning, doesn't it? So I don't think it was properly stabilized. It seemed like it was, but some it still seemed off. So far, Moza was definitely winning as far as balancing or ease of balancing. Try to reset that. Yep. All right, so there you go. Next up, the Ronin M. So now we are using the Ronin. Not the easiest to try and do this type of shot with because you got crossbars instead of a handle. So I'm actually using a top handle and it flips upside down right now. So we'll see how the chase footage looks. Ready? All right, guys, so what do you think? Do you like the Crane 2, the Crane V2, the Moza Air, or the Ronin M? You know, there's quite a bit of difference between all 4 units. You know, the Ronin M is great because it's just a fantastic, solid unit, especially with the crossbars and everything. The Moza and the 2 Crane models are both really good because there's mosquitoes out here. The Crane and the Moza models are really great because of the functionality of them, the simplicity of them with being solid units, solid handle units. As well as the Moza Air, to me, has an edge on everyone else because it comes with crossbars that you can build in or that you can attach. So that's a huge value for the money because you're getting that simple single-handed unit, but then you're also having the ability to add crossbars to it and make it a much more stable unit if you need to. Plus the payload on it is higher than the Crane V2
about the same as the Crane 2, and about the same as the Ronin M. The battery life on it is about 12 hours, so it's a really good value there. Just a review on the Crane. So the Crane V2, to me, it was a nice, simple, compact unit. Didn't seem as stable when I was regularly using it. The battery life wasn't very good. The payload wasn't as good as the others. So I would kind of say for the money, I would definitely go with the Moza. Now, the Moza versus the Crane 2 model. Now the Crane 2 was a great addition, or a great improvement from the previous V2 model because of the fact you've got that built-in follow focus and better battery life, higher payload. But I couldn't get the follow focus mode to work with the Sony. So not quite sure about the unit on that, or the functionality on that. But as well as the handle itself, to me, it was too big. It's too thick of a handle. It's like holding onto a mag flashlight, which if you're trying to use it as a gimbal, it's too much. Because after about an hour, I was just tired of holding it. So when you've got the gimbal plus the camera attachment, it's like holding a 6 to 8 pound mag flashlight in your hand like this for hours at a time. It's exhausting. So I would say Crane, the brand needs to kind of simplify that design quite a bit, especially with the Ronin S coming out that's got a little bit slimmer handle. That's going to definitely be an advantage over the Crane 2 model. So between all 4 units, to me, I'm gonna keep my Ronin M for a while, at least see how the Ronin S comes out and see how that does. I'm gonna try and get one of those and then test them out as well. And I'm definitely gonna keep the Moza Air because it's great for the money. It's got a lot of great features on it. It's very stable. It's got the crossbar attachment for whenever you need to throw it in, and just a great unit. You really can't beat it for the money. So, but later on we'll see how it compares to the Ronin S. But I'd love to hear your guys' comments on what units you guys are using, and then what you think of the stability between all 3 units being shown in the video. So, love to hear your comments, and thanks for watching.